your success. We connect students with the real world experiences, mentors, and actionable advice that help you build impactful careers. Think of us like your career co-pilots, helping you navigate the exciting, sometimes bewildering world of tech. And tonight we've gathered here with an all-star lineup, a panel of current and recent interns who have been here, done that, and are here to spill the beans on how you can ace your internship journey. Please join me in giving a massive round of applause, both in person and virtually, to our incredible panelists. All right, from AI/ML to full stack cloud QA and front end, you've got everything covered. I'd ask all the panelists to introduce themselves really briefly.
Hi.
Give it a second.
Yeah. Hi, my name is Sushmita and I'm doing masters in software engineering. I previously worked at HP and now I'm a software engineer intern at ASU.
Hi, my name is Katha Naik. I'm a senior studying computer science at the ASU. I'm also a software engineering intern at Fox. Yeah.
I'm Rushad. I'm a master's student at software engineering, and this summer I interned at Rocket Mortgage, one of the leading mortgage firms in the country. So, yeah, excited to share.
Hi, I'm Manasri and I'm doing information technology masters. And I have been working since summer in Escape Enterprises, which is a startup, and continuing my co-op there.
Hello, my name is Shanali. I'm a junior studying computer science and informatics at ASU. I'm currently an intern for a startup called Grand Goo Incorporated, and I'm excited to be here. Thank you.
Hey, my name is Som. I'm a PhD student working at the Lens Lab Research Center Point. I was an intern at LinkedIn, and I mostly work in generative AI and breaking machine learning models. I'm great to be here.
Hi, my name is Greha and I'm a master's student in computer science. I did my summer internship at PayPal.
Yeah, just got joined. Could you come this way? We have it's in order.
Hi, my name is. Hello. Okay. Hi, my name is Vu. I'm currently an intern at Mimos, a young commander-backed startup. So, thank you for inviting me to meet this, and we're happy to be here.
Thank you. Tonight we are tackling the internship journey in 3 power-packed segments: finding your foot in the door, acing the interview, and crushing it on the job. Okay, panel, let's start at the beginning. That thrilling, sometimes terrifying moment of getting the internship, it's like finding a secret door to a whole new world. So, first question to you. Your internship at Mimos YCS25 startup is seriously impressive. You built an AI agent that auto-generates customer blogs, cutting content time by 80% and enabling 5 times more posts a month. Those are incredible, measurable impacts for even a startup. So the question to you is, when you're trying to stand out in a sea of applicants, how do you communicate those kinds of high impact, quantifiable results on your resume or your cover letters, especially when the projects might still be ongoing, or you're still starting to see early wins? How do you make those numbers sing?
Okay. So the way the startup recruit is that they would just talk with you, and if they find a match, they would just let you in. So before Mimos, the startup, I have been doing 2 research at ASU, which also specialize in AI agents and similar stuff. So, and I also build a lot of side projects during my free time, and also like the director of programming for one computer science. So they really value the way that I can build really fast and learn stuff really fast. And I just show them, I just pick one problem in the startup and show them how I would solve them if I'm an intern at their startup. So that's how I make it stand out. Solve a problem that they are really have, and so that you can show them.
That's fantastic. So, and speaking of getting noticed, Sushmita, your AI ML projects are similarly cutting edge. So, your AI ML internship involved developing an LLM-powered virtual assistant that even integrated face recognition and object detection. Super cool. Many students might wonder how to even get the attention of companies working on such advanced niche AI projects beyond just applying to online, or what proactive steps or unconventional methods did you use or would you recommend to connect with companies or teams working on specialized AI, ML, or full stack projects that truly align with your unique interests?
Okay, so the project that you're talking about was an internship that I did at Comsoft Technologies back in Bangalore, and that was during my undergrad. So I'm an undergrad in electronics and communication engineering, which is not normal for a software engineer major. And so I always had this interest through image processing and all of that. And I reached out to one of the recruiters, and that's how I got my job at HP also. Like I reached out to a recruiter, and then she set a interview up, and then I cleared my interviews, and that's how I got the job too. So I think networking is what helps for anyone, because there's a sea of applicants now, and I think we have to reach out, though we get ghosted every time.
I hear you. Excellent point. So, and sometimes these doors open through broader programs like those Katha's been part of. Katha, as a breakthrough tech AI fellow and with roles at places like Dreamscape, Learn, and Fury, you've clearly engaged with a variety of programs and initiatives. This broad engagement exposes you to different networks and opportunities. So the question to you is, for students who might not have a direct in or referral, how important was leveraging those types of programs, fellowships, or even university research opportunities in helping you discover and successfully applying to diverse internships, particularly those in competitive fields like AI?
Okay, so like I try to reach out for cool projects. So when I was while I still work at Dreamscape Learn, and then in the process of building a VR pod in the building itself, and I was like, okay, this is interesting, and how can I help with that? So it's basically going above and beyond, and trying to do as much as you can, and obviously not just for the sake of it, but because you want to do it and because you're interested in it.
Great, thank you. That's invaluable. And once those applicants are out there, the next hurdle is the interview. So, all right. So you've landed the interview. This is where you shine or you trip, but that's where you learn. So, question to Som. As an AI ML research intern at LinkedIn and a CS PhD student at ASU, you're operating at a very high level, training domain specialized agents using reinforcement learning and generative models. Your interview process likely involved incredible complex technical discussions. So the question is, for students preparing for highly technical AI, ML, or research focused internship beyond typical lead code, what's a type of unconventional technical question or problem solving scenario you encountered or that you'd advise students to prepare for to truly demonstrate deep understanding and critical thinking?
Yeah, that's an interesting question because I never gotten an unconventional question, but at least for machine learning, I think there's a cap on how much you can learn, at least for interviews. They will not be asking you to make a model on the spot because it takes time. So it's mostly about how good you're at least for me, it was how good you're at linear algebra and have you, the things you wrote in your resume, if I ask a question on that, can you do it again? So most of my interviews at least revolved around my specialization. Since I do a PhD in reinforcement learning, almost all of the companies I interviewed for asked me questions on reinforcement learning, but and LLMs. It was mostly around these. So I didn't have to prepare much beyond the topics I'm very familiar with. It's mostly because I was also applying to only LLMs and RL roles. So I would say, at least at a PhD, fine. Applying for machine learning research, you don't have to prepare as much for the machine learning round than the lead code problem, because lead code, they have dozens of questions. They can ask you anything. But at least for machine learning, you can be sure they're going to be asking you from your expertise, because they're probably hiring you for what you applied for, your research experience. I think like that.
Fascinating. So you're basically interviewing to become a problem solver and not just a code writer. And problem solving is the heart of many roles, even those with a strong QA focus. So on to Manasvi. As a software QA intern at Escape App AI, you've handled manual regression, functional, and even cross-platform testing for web, mobile, and game app using technologies like AWS and Unreal Engine. This involves a unique blend of user experience, technical understanding, and defect hunting. So the question is, when interviewing for a QA-focused role, what's one specific skill or approach you've found most effective in showcasing your ability, not just in finding bugs, but to really think like a user and contribute to a better overall product experience, especially in diverse environments like gaming or cloud?
So speaking about that, I was a software engineer for 2 years, and the most fascinating thing is for me more than developing is like finding bugs. It was like developers used to develop it, and we were like, oh, we have a bug there. So it depends on your interest. If you can find a bug there and go for QA, the most important part is like automation there. It should be very good. So automating it, and it's all on your interest.
That's a brilliant distinction. So speaking of critical thinking, Rushad, your work in regulating environments must demand immense attention to detail. Your SWE internship at Rocket involved building observability dashboards and updating AWS modules on a consent for data sharing team operating in a highly regulated environment. You even got exposure to discussions on innovation versus risk with C-suite leaders. So the question to you is, how do you prepare for an interview where demonstrating both technical prowess and an understanding of complex non-technical factors like compliance, security, or ethical implications in a regulated industry is crucial? What soft skills come into play there?
I'll just go over what my experience was. Luckily, they didn't require any baseline legal knowledge for me to have the digital rights thing. They only wanted someone who could join the team and learn while they're working there. So they were looking for candidates that were eager to learn about what they would be working on. So before a day before the interview, I just gathered all my experiences from my previous work experience in India and just story pointed those. Like if they ask me this question, how would I fit my experience into that? Another thing that I realized was you had to be honest. If you know something, if you don't know something. Let me share an example. They picked out a GitHub project of mine that I had worked for during my first semester, software engineering. There was a front end and a back end component to it. And at that time, I didn't have any back end knowledge for AWS or Azure or anything like that. So they asked me a question like, why did you use Azure or AWS or something like that? I was like very brutally honest, and I said that we were a team of 5 and 3 of us worked on the front end and 2 of us at the back end. And the reason we picked Azure was because we came to know that Azure was providing free credits and we only had to keep that project online for a month. So they appreciate honesty. They appreciate they appreciate that you know the depth of your knowledge. You don't have to lie and say that yeah, I can do this, I can do that if you don't know about it. You can just say, I know up to this point, but I'm eager to learn more.
Incredible insight. Thanks, Rushad. So, all right, we've navigated the interview maze. Now, what happens once you're in? Okay, so you've landed the internship. High five. Now, how do you go from just an intern to an indispensable team member? And ideally, land that full-time offer. Greha, at PayPal, you built an LLM-powered merchant insights chatbot that cut query time from 6 minutes to 22 seconds for over 1 million records with 99.9% uptime. And that's an astonishing impact. So the question here is, when you're an intern with a limited time frame, how do you quickly identify and scope out a project that can deliver such a clear, measurable, and high impact outcome, rather than just bogging down in small, less viable tasks? What's the secret to finding those golden projects?
So according to me, the key factor is to network, get to know more about the project that you are working on. Because for us, the project was already assigned. So we knew that we need to work on this stuff. So I basically talked to my mentor, my manager, like what is the actual outcome that they are expecting and how can I learn? Because it was new to me. I had never worked on LLMs before. So that was the first time. And my mentor was very helpful. He taught me like from step 0 to the end goal of the project. So basically, even ask for feedback. Like if you have developed something, if you're like you're working on it for 2 weeks, then you can ask midway that, oh, I'm working on this. Does this like look good? Is it as per the expectations? What are their final expectations? And then you can reiterate your work and like predefine what you're working.
Phenomenal. Thanks. So, you basically optimized your own internship success. And speaking of making a big impact, sometimes it's about navigating unexpected challenges. Shanali, as a front-end developer intern and at Grango app, a startup, you're not just building user interface, but also contributing to UX UI design, product growth, and even planning pop-up marketing events. This is a super broad role, especially for an intern. In a fast-paced startup environment where roles can be fluid, what's one key soft skill beyond just technical front-end abilities that allowed you to efficiently pivot, manage stakeholder expectations, and deliver visible outcomes across such diverse responsibilities? How do you stay agile and impactful?
Yeah, so like you mentioned, in a startup environment, you kind of have to wear multiple hats. You can't just be an intern working on one design because in a startup team, there aren't a lot of people to go across all departments. So in my instance, I am technically a front-end developer intern. I work on Figma designs and the UX and UI of our web launch app. However, because we are a startup and we're trying to get some more user base, I am also in charge of growing our products. So I do user-generated content. I went to LA this past weekend to launch our product. And the biggest soft skill that helps me stay on top of the multiple different tasks, even if they're not technical work, is to keep talking. It's a very like generic thing to say, but I think it's very important to communicate where you are, what tasks you're working on, what ideal you're looking for, and maybe if you're stuck anywhere, or if you've got something completed and you need another task. You should always be in contact and communicating your status with the people on your team. And I think by maintaining that stream of communication, it's a lot easier to ensure that you're on top of all the tasks you have, even if they span across different roles.
Such a crucial insight. Thank you. And for a final question in this segment, it's all about those important follow-ups. Mohammed Ali, with your experience at Lawrence Livermore National Lab and Rapid Silicon, working on FPGA-based AI systems and SoC verification, you've been in highly technical, sometimes complex research and development environments. Converting an internship into a full-time opportunity often requires continuous engagement. So the question here is, beyond just performing well on your assigned projects, what are some strategic ways you engaged with your mentors, managers, or even cross-functional teams through your internships to effectively signal your interest in converting to a full-time offer and ensure you were considered for future roles?
Well, I think that's an interesting question, but it's a little misplaced since I've never worked a full-time role before. I'm a career academic, most I've done as internships. But I think it's really important to, seize the moment, take initiative. When you're working on something, make sure you're doing your own work. Your mentor only has so much time to give to you, right? And at a certain point, you have to sort of take responsibility and step up for the task you've been assigned. Show some creativity in how you approach the tasks you've been assigned. Think of some unconventional approaches, draw your own conclusions. The work I've been doing at all the places I've been, it's been very hands-off teams. I've had the reins of some of my own work because my mentors were so busy. And I guess being able or developing the insight to actually find the problem, identify it, and start to build a solution that then you can get feedback on is very important. And your main role as a technical person now, especially in this age of AI and LLM based code generation, is your ability to seek out problems and identify solutions that a computer cannot. Right, your ability is your critical thinking skills. Right, your technical background must allow you to find problems and point out solutions. And I think that's really what companies are looking for. Most of them are offloading their workers for more AI-based approaches, and your job, I think, is problem finding, problem solving.
Absolutely brilliant advice. Thank you. All right, this was an incredible deep dive panel, but you're not done yet. All right, everyone, it's time for a rapid fire lightning round. One question, one quick answer, first thought, best one, no pressure. So, one tool or platform you learned during an internship that you now can't live without. Anyone can answer. It's supposed to be rapid fire, guys.
I learned AWS and cloud computing over the summer, and I think that's something I really want to get into because it really I used to be full stack before, but then with cloud computing, it just changed the game for me. So that's why that's one tool I wouldn't.
Awesome. One more.
Are you using Cursor quite a lot?
Cursor, yeah.
So I've been using Cursor ever since I started internship there. The lab I use Cursor a lot. That's pretty awesome.
Awesome.
Same AWS and GitHub Copilot. I never used Copilot before, but now I use it for research as well.
The biggest internship mistake you made and how you pivoted to fix it.
So, yeah. So I didn't know that we had to apply faster for a summer internship. I think that was a mistake. But later on, luckily, I kind of reached out to a manager at CV, and that's how I kind of landed an internship during the summer, and now I'm working on it. So, yeah. So for a full-time role, I think you should apply.
Okay. One more.
Does experience during internship counts?
Anything?
Yeah, so in my first internship, so I just the type that just work and stay silent, say nothing. So it just make my impact isn't really visible. So in my current internship, I just communicate everything with my manager, report everything. So I do a lot,
Awesome. One piece of advice for dealing with imposter syndrome during an internship.
Okay, so I'm a very underconfident coder, I would say. But for me, I think getting a task done and then celebrating it has been better because then every small step you celebrate, then you feel a little better about yourself. So yeah.
Awesome. I think you had something.
Each and every developer, even with 10 plus years or more experience I've been on the team with, they still learn new things every day. So don't be afraid to learn something new.
Great.
I think as far as research tasks go, a lot of my work has been research based. And especially at places like Livermore Lawrence, where the pressure is really high. The work you do means a lot to some critical applications. I think it's important to realize that you're in this place because of your skills, and these are problems no one's actually encountered before. And just the fact that you're working on them makes you worthy to work on them, right? Nobody else is actually looking at these. It's you working on these. It's first of its kind. And so even if you're slow, and even if it's taking you some time to familiarize yourself with it, or approach the problem properly, you're still you're the only one doing it. And so there's really no wrong way to go about it.
Great. And the last one, most surprising thing you learned about corporate culture.
Managers are too good. Like, we'll feel like we should not talk because they're the seniors and all, but no, they're the best people. Communicate with them properly and they'll communicate back with you.
Awesome.
You get free food.
Free food.
Yeah, I was gonna say I have my CEO's like number saved and I have his Discord and like it's like very easy to reach out to him whenever I have issues or anything when I'm working on. And he's told me like straight up, like if you have issues, just text me. Again, that isn't a startup environment, but I do think it's a lot more helpful and like amicable in tech than you may be thinking. So you don't have to be scared of like reaching out.
Incredible. Yeah. That was a world with you have a one? Go on.
Yeah, so they encourage us to ask stupid questions all the time. And they were also very open about if you don't know about something, you can just look up the directory, know what the skills that employee does or have, and just reach out to them. They'll always reach out to you, and like you can communicate and get to know each other better and learn that.
I think I'm going to second that. Sometimes we can get too into our work, and it's important to realize that your role over there is an intern, right? You're not a senior technician, you're not there as a manager. Your responsibility is actually very less, right? And so to take it upon yourself to deliver perfection is weird. The managers aren't expecting that from you. They're seeing you as sort of this baby in the corporate culture, right? Whatever you do is going to be good enough, right? And they're there to guide you. And so it's okay to make mistakes, and it's okay to actually reach out to them and talk to them. And I see that as students, we actually put this pressure on ourselves to, outperform everyone else in the team and, do the best and work 12 hours a day. They don't expect that of you, right? As an intern, that's not your role. And I think it's important to remember that.
Incredible. That was a whirlwind of wisdom. Thank you, panel. For those brilliant rapid fire insights. All right, you've given us so much incredible insider advice. Thank you. But now it's time to open the floor to our amazing audience. This is your chance to ask any burning questions you have about the internship journey. Whether you're here in person or joining us online, feel free to raise your hand and we'll get the mic to you. You have one. Let me get this one here.
I guess one question I do have is like I'm very, very new to like making projects, personal projects that are designed to improve like metrics of like the intent of your project. Where do I start? What platforms do I go to? What videos do I look at? Where do I go? I'm very into VR and I want to start making environments in that. Like, where do I go to? So
The first part of advice I would give is definitely find like some sort of issue or like field industry idea first. In my instance, so the project, so I am like front-end based. I really like user design, user-centered work. And the projects I did were actually through ASU courses that I signed up for. That's kind of why I did my informatics certificate, because I realized with the CS curriculum I wasn't getting as much user-focused work as I would have wanted. So definitely see what you can do through ASU already because you are a student. And I've also had projects that I've done through clubs, like Women in Computer Science, they do hackathons, or I've done a study that I submitted to the Society of Women Engineers, and I'm actually going to the conference in New Orleans this month to present stuff that I did at ASU. So I think definitely don't forget about the fact that you're a student and like ASU offers a lot of chances for you to be able to dive into that type of stuff. I'm sure if you reach out to a professor, just like you are mentioning now, saying like, I don't know where to start, but I'd love to learn more. Can I chat with you just for like 15 minutes, grab a coffee or something? And if you could give me insight, find some VR professor. Or if maybe that sort of in-person interaction isn't what you're looking for, I think you're already on a good track of saying that you want to find like some sort of tutorial video or find like a platform or environment to use. you can definitely do a deep dive on like YouTube, Reddit. Like there's definitely going to be GitHubs with like templates of stuff you can do. I think the most important thing is don't get overwhelmed by the amount of resources outside because there are a lot. So you just need to solidify what is the problem you want to solve, or maybe what is the creativity you want to display. Find that out first. And then from there, ASU has a lot of resources online. There's a ton of resources, and AI exists. So you can vibe code from there as well.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
So to start off, you can try to look into your personal life and see what problems you're currently facing and try to find a solution for that. I think that's the best way to start, because then you're the stakeholder, you're the person you're designing for, so you know the best. Then okay, so you mentioned you want to get into VR. So there's a VR class called AME something. It's called Designing for Dreamscape. So you're basically making a making a VR experience. So you could look into that as well. Yeah.
All right. I have a question for you. Where are you in your academic journey so far? Like, what year are you in?
Currently right now I'm a junior. So I have like made like a couple like small projects on my own. Just very, very basic stuff. Like I started working with APIs. I didn't know what they were, and then I started learning with them, AI APIs and how they connect. Sorry, I went a little on tangent, but yes, I'm a junior currently.
So obviously Dreamscape is something you should check out. Talk to
Yes.
the people there. Second, just make something that's cool, right? Make something you're personally invested in.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be like a real problem or something. The entire point of the project is to demonstrate skill, right?
Okay.
Nobody's expecting you to have like a world-changing problem you're gonna solve overnight, right?
Mhm.
Make something that you like, something you think would be cool,
Mhm.
and make sure like you demonstrate skill through it, right?
Okay.
But make sure your love for what you want to do shines through it.
Oh,
Right.
I see. Okay. So like basically what you're saying is like, I guess learning the fundamentals and getting comfortable in like what you want to make for you. And then once you do that, then I can further and like ask myself, what's a problem that either I have or a generalized problem that I actually use my skill in to create, or am I kind of getting it
All right.
a little twisted?
When they interview you
Mhm.
for at least as far as my experience has been,
Yeah.
whatever you put on your resume, they're gonna ask you about it.
Yeah.
Right. And the depth of your knowledge on that is what matters. And if you work on something that you actually like, right,
Mhm.
not just like a problem you believe in, but something you think is cool, like something you're gonna invest your time in, the depth of knowledge you're gonna gain from that is something beyond what, like, I'm just doing this for the sake of doing it. It's something you don't want to go down. Work on something you like, and you'll learn the skills along the way.
Okay. Perfect. Okay. Well, I know where to start now. Thank you guys so much for answering my question. I really appreciate it. Okay.
I just wanted to ask, like, I'm pretty sure all of you had summer internships and like probably converted most of them. So like, say you get a summer internship, what is your key factor like in converting that to like a fall internship or like probably spring, like extending your internship in general, like.
I think that for startups, showing that you have ownerships and you have the ability to build and learn really fast is the way that they will keep you, because you keep extending your impact in the startup and you keep taking more jobs. So at the end of the fall, they realize that, oh, I cannot get rid of this intern because he take on too much. Then they will extend. So my advice is gonna be like take ownership. They won't require like perfection from you, like the other said. So just try showing that you can learn, you can build really fast, and you're ready to contribute. So yeah, that's one point.
Am I allowed to answer this also? So I would say always communicate with your manager about what they expect out of that deliverable from you, and try to deliver what they expect of you, because they give you something and then you just accept the task, and then you have your own perception of what they expect out of you, and you deliver, you feel like you've done your best, but maybe that's not what they expected. So just keep completing all the tasks and communicate that what they expected and what you delivered, and document everything. At the end of the internship, just have that brag sheet open and tell them these are the things that you gave me and this is what I've delivered. And then you can probably ask them informally of, can I be considered for future openings or something like that.
I would like to add on to that. I would say that be the most likable person on the job, because I mean, like, you have to ask questions and get to know what the requirements are. If you get a project, you have to know what they are seeking, and that's how like you ask questions and you learn from them, and not like everybody knows everything. It's not like that. You have to learn, you have to keep learning, and I think every software engineer has to do that.
I would like to add to that. So if you do get the opportunity to intern, make space for yourself in the team, like create a job for yourself that nobody else can do. So like your job is irreplaceable, that if they want to continue that project, then they would want to hire you for continuing the work. So make space for yourself in the team. Do something that the others cannot do. That's something that you are good at.
One more thing on top of that is be a team player. They would really appreciate that you work well together with the team, and if you are already gelling well with the team, they would likely consider you for future roles as well.
Awesome. Any other questions? Yes.
So I just wanted to ask all of you, but any of you can answer. Like, what do you think made like what was the conversion rate for your applications and how to get an interview in the first place, and what do you think made you land that interview? Is the point.
Okay.
I'm
You can go ahead.
a big believer that it's a numbers game. So the number of applications you send in, the number of interviews you get. So I think I sent in around 200 to 50 applications, which turned to around 8 interviews and then one offer. So yeah.
I really think how you communicate really matters, at least in my case. I think I started very late for summer 25. I actually started applying in December, which I realized was very late. I didn't know. This time I started early. So when I started applying, I think I applied around 50, got one interview. But then I started going to conferences. I went to New York last year. By the time I was back, I had 12 interviews. So I really think meeting people in person leaves an impact. So if you do have the opportunity, like New York is in USA this time. So if you're in machine learning, at least if you do have the opportunity to go and meet a team, kind of. So I was the only person at New York was walking around with a tablet, which had a one-slide presentation of my work. So if you can leave an impact on some recruiter or manager's mind, they would give an interview. They wouldn't care if you're a first-year PhD, first-year master's. Also, definitely leave that impact in people's and try to meet them if you can. Otherwise, it's a numbers game, which is hard to beat.
Yeah, even I second the point that's been made that you should meet recruiters in person. So I got my internship through a career fair at ASU. So that was in person. I just went there. I asked them about the company, what they do, would I fit in? I know these technologies. Would there be a role for me? And they took time to reply back, but they did reply back to me.
So my experience is actually quite different. My only like internship in the US was at L, and so last season I only applied to I only made 10 or 11 applications. Particularly because my expertise are so niche, right? They don't really apply well to many places. And I guess my manager really liked my resume, right? And so when they reached out, they scheduled that interview. And it was pretty late in the interview cycle. I think it was they reached out to me sometime in January, late January, right? And that's when I heard back from them. And the interview was pretty unexpected. I wasn't expecting anything at that point, right? So sometimes it's just luck, right? So they like my projects that I've listed on my resume, the way I structured my resume, maybe it's spoke to them. They like my profile. And after that, you just have to impress them in the interview, right? And so I had a paper accepted at ISFPGA as a poster. And then obviously I just talked about that. And then I talked about my work during my undergrad. And they thought I could really help them with some of the problems they've had and be a valuable addition to their team. So sometimes it's just luck.
I'm going to mirror the luck aspect. So my story is also a bit unconventional. The CEO of my startup actually reached out to me and he asked to meet me. And so I think what really contributed to that was the fact that I'm very active on LinkedIn. And so over the summer, instead of really like sending in applications, just because to be honest, it was a bit overwhelming, I kind of focused on really identifying like what my role in tech should look like, what I enjoy in tech, what makes me like a computer scientist and what makes me want to actually do stuff in this industry. And so over the summer, I got to be involved with a different startup actually, and I helped them grow their product. I did user testing for them. And this is all stuff I've never done in an ASU class before. I had done it because I discovered the startup through LinkedIn. I applied for their job and I got that one. Then through me having exposure in that or that past startup, my current startup CEO actually reached out to me and suggested that we meet. So I think while it is important to put in as many applications as you can because it is a numbers game, don't forget about the fact that you are a product as well. Like you have your own personal brand, you're deserving of getting a role, and so you should present why you are. So definitely like utilize your LinkedIn, make posts, show your accomplishments, maybe also just comment on other people's posts, interact with people on that platform, because at the moment LinkedIn is not too saturated. So I think it's still a really, really good way to genuinely connect with other people in the field. And when I say connect, you don't have to only like connect with recruiters or people above you. I've actually gotten like the most interactions and coffee chats with people in the same level as me, or even people below me. People that are in years younger than me, but they have experience or they have projects, they have profiles even that just look so creative and cool. I see something that I want to reflect on myself, and I go out of my way to kind of speak with them. So I think, yeah, it's important obviously to get as many applications in as you can, but at the end of the day, what the recruiter is going to be looking at is yes, your tech skills, but you as a person, because anyone can have tech skills, but what do you bring to the table as a team player or as a collaborator or as a person in tech? So definitely don't neglect that part. Like you are unique, so definitely play into that.
When we say that it's a numbers game, it doesn't mean just apply to any company blindly. Look at the rules, study what the company does. Look how you can make an impact while working at the company. So that will also be a major factor in converting that internship into a future internship or maybe a future full-time role.
Awesome. Thank you. So we have more questions? Anyone else who has questions? I think you guys are debating on questions. Sure? You have Sure?
You're gonna have to force questions now.
You have questions?
No, you're gonna have to force questions.
Usually someone in chat. I don't want to force anyone. Oh, let's check the Zoom. We have three. Okay. Never mind. Okay. Anya, was there a task or project during your internship that you underestimated but ended up being the most rewarding?
So during my summer internship at CB here at ASU, so I just had to create a website portal. So as a full stack developer and a master student, it seems like it's a normal thing to do for us, right? But the only thing that was there was like I had to match it to ASU standards and ASU colors, and it shouldn't look something out there. So eventually I felt just I didn't kind of feel any sort of accomplishment because I was like, it's just a website portal that I'm building. But eventually that was the most rewarding thing for me because everyone came up to me and said it looked really good. I even got mails from managers and all of that. So yeah, I mean, that was one experience.
For me, it was so the tool I was working on was about to undergo a migration, and I just thought of creating step-by-step documentation for the team, just out of the blue, just wondering if I'm not there, the team could follow the guide and work on migrating. So that turned out to be one of the most important points that they highlighted about why they wanted to keep me, because at that moment I thought about the team rather than just focusing on completing the project. So though documentation might sound boring, I that's what made me stand out.
So during my internship, I was working on something called LinkedIn Hiring Assistant. It's like when recruiters, it's like ChatGPT for recruiters. They could give skills and mention names or things they need, and it should recommend candidates. So on the first day, they called all these PhD interns and said, "Hey, this is the platform. What problems do you see?" And I stood up and I said, "This is too slow. It's giving me responses only in 5 minutes. ChatGPT responses in seconds." They asked, "Can you fix that?" I was so confident. I said that yes, you can just train with the data you have. It should be so easy. And it turned out to be very difficult. I did train something. I did. My team, we actually did make a model for this. We actually fine tuned a lot of LLMs. We had to come up with our own fine tuning technique. And but 1.5 months later, like so 1.5 months in, we finished the code. I could not push any of my code. It was just in different branches. It wouldn't merge because of so many checks. So my code was that bad. It just works, but my code wouldn't push to production just because of how good quality they keep in. So for me, 2 weeks were just learning to write good code. So that was a really rewarding experience. So when I was back in the lab, everybody's so surprising. Are you writing comments? What happened? So most rewarding experience for me was like I had a huge learning curve during my internship, at least in writing code, not in like tech.
Without going into too much detail, I think towards the end of my internship, hold on, let me think about how much I'm allowed to say about this. But I think being able to represent data in a way that people can understand is very important. And sometimes it's the most overlooked aspect of the work you do, right? Whatever you do, it doesn't matter until you present it in a way that your manager can understand or your admin can understand, right? And so towards the end of my internship, it was very hands-off towards the end, especially because my mentor had some personal issues happening. But I presented I had like a massive repository of a massive table of like performance per benchmark, per run, per config. And I found like really nice ways to represent for each benchmark. And I think that was what impressed my mentor the most, was the fact that I was able to represent all this massive amount of data in a way that she could understand. And I think that's something everyone could learn from, is the work you do doesn't matter until someone higher up can understand it. And so you need to find a way to present your work in a way that they will understand, right? Because they don't usually have the time to go over the depths of the code with you. You just need to find a way to, summarize it, effectively show the results you've gotten, and then, be able to draw conclusions from that data.
Awesome. Any other questions do we have? Do panelists have questions for each other?
Yes. So I don't know if you guys are still like in school or you're already graduated, but I'm currently like working and studying at the same time at a startup, and sometimes it gets really overwhelmed. So how do you balance like work and school? I know that it's hard to get work-life balance, but how do you like kind of like don't get insane while doing a lot of stuff at the same time?
So I'm currently balancing 3 jobs right now, and I am losing it day by day. But I think I try to find a good list of things that I do and that makes me happy and that energize me. And that is like one is like meeting people or like talking to someone or just like watching something. And then you should like try to find a time to do that. It doesn't have to be like can be 1 or 2 hours. And then just like I think that's what's keeping me sane right now.
From my end, one thing that really helps me is to lean on my friends for support. I think like I am surrounded by a circle of very like motivated people, but then each of us has times where all of us like need each other for support. So just having that level of vulnerability and transparency in friendships to be able to say like, hey, I need to like go just take a step outside. Will you come with me? And more often than not, like people are sincere, they'll go with you. And I think being able to take time off, especially with other people, and just like go outside, remember to touch grass and like breathe the air, and like you don't always have to be staring at a computer screen for 36 hours straight. I think taking time to like actually go outside with other people and like remember while you're passionate about this thing and it's really cool that you have an opportunity and you're given the opportunity because you're capable, that doesn't mean it should consume you by any means. And so you have to make sure you're walking a fine line to let your passion show, but don't let your passion overtake you, because then you'll be like going with no breaks, you know, and that just leads to disruption. So you should be mindful and remember that you can only do your best work when you're like rested and like in the right space of mind. So yeah.
Yeah, I think same. I'm coping up with 3 jobs and even a co-op as well as part-time. So what I did was I took my lectures according to the timings what I needed. So there was a balance in like, however ASU allows it to work 20 hours. So you can balance all at a time, and then you have weekends to do your like assignments or whatever it is. Yeah.
Any other questions?
I think I would ask, like, is there a favorite part that you have from your internship that you didn't expect going into like the corporate world or the workplace?
One thing.
Thing that I was surprised by is on my first day, instead of assigning me a task, they asked me, "What do you want to do?" So even though I was hired for C# and PostgreSQL, uh, I told them I'm pretty good with C# and PostgreSQL, but I would like to learn more about AWS because Rocket has a lot of investment in AWS. So I just asked them, and surprisingly, they allowed me. So they connected me with someone on the SRE team, and we started chatting, and they offered me their training courses that are internal to Rocket. That's how I began learning more and more about AWS through the guides online, through how they architect their software systems. So it was a good learning experience for me.
So, as an intern at Fox, I'm surprised every day on how like what goes behind all the small technology or like even the big applications that go behind what happens, like how you get um like how do you get media on your TVs or your screens, like from the satellites to this. So yeah, so I'm surprised every day and something new that I learn every day. I think my manager is also pretty supportive of this, and anytime there's a meeting where there's a new technology being discussed, he's like, please attend this, like this is interesting, attend it. And one of the highlights of my internship would be that I got to visit a TV station and see live news being recorded in front of me. So yeah.
So it's pretty fun at LinkedIn. Every month we have this day called In Day, where you're not supposed to work. Like they will like ban you from working or something. So they will like have multiple events. I attended 3 In Days. It was just like they'll bring random shops, local shops, a lot of food, and there will be a lot of games. You can just continue playing. And I was invited to like every like senior meeting, so it was pretty fun. Even the quarterly meeting for like which decides like stock prices and everything. I was invited for that. Got to know what LinkedIn is doing next. So it was pretty fun. We even got weekend tickets from LinkedIn. So it was like pretty nice. We got tickets to the Chase Center. Rental cars were cheaper just because I was working there. So a lot of benefits which I didn't know I would get as an intern was pretty.
You?
Okay, no worries. I'm gonna answer my own question. I went to LA this weekend, like just spontaneously because of my startup. So that was really fun. Like literally for 24 hours. Like I was in Arizona and then I was in LA and then I came back to Arizona. And I think one really nice thing is even just like 2 months ago, me saying that sentence would have sounded absolutely like psychotic. But like now, I think because of the fact that like I just continuously try my best to put myself out there for any opportunity, I've been able to do really cool stuff like going to a whole other state for a product launch. And yeah, I would have never expected that I would be the type of person that could be in that sort of space. But because I put myself out there and just let anything that is possible come to me, I've been able to do some really cool stuff. So definitely don't be afraid to put yourself out there.
Any other questions?
I have like a myth-buster kind of question. So I didn't know how to apply or like I had no preparation for interviews. So when I was like asking my friends who actually had internships, So one of the biggest advice I got was be in the first 10 applicants of the job posting. I wouldn't know if that is true because as a PhD student, I'm kind of always in the first 10, even if I apply a week later because there's only so PhD students. And I seen these for other students, there's like thousands of folks. So is it true that when you're in the top, I don't know, 5 people to apply, did you hear back?
I really don't know about PG, but for masters, we have a lot of students applying for the same job. Like I remember for Amazon STE role, which came up, and everyone started applying. I applied in December. It's just because first come first serve. You get your OA first. So most of my friends applied earlier. They got their OA. They got their technical interview. And because I applied late, I got my technical interview. But there are some like batches, like Amazon has only 500 or 600 or something like that, whatever they need. And even if you give a technical interview, they'll ban you from that because I think you're late for that. That's it. They need a reason. They need a reason to take you out. That's it.
So I'm assuming it's true then.
Yes, it's true. Because I don't know for PhD, but for masters, yeah. Because we have a lot of students applying for the same role and they roll out for like a daily basis. Yes, they do it.
I mean, I totally agree with that. At least for PayPal, I know that their opening does not last for more than 3 days. So if you cannot apply in the first 3 days, you're not going to get the chance to apply as well. So I think most of the companies have cap on the number of applicants that they would be looking out for because they have a number that they will be hiring. So it only makes sense to apply as soon as possible.
So, even though that's true, but I would say that last year I applied pretty late. I started my application like mid-October and applied for Google. So by that time, Google already like opened like 1.5 months, but I still got my OA and interviews before a lot of my friends who applied earlier. So I would say that it depends on the company, and if you don't be like the earliest person to apply, just apply. Yeah.
Yeah, so when I applied for LRNL, I skipped applying the first time because I was like, there's no way I'm gonna get security clearance to get on like LRNL, right? But I applied just to see what happened. And I think something important to remember is as a PhD student, when you're getting hired for something very specific, right? You're a highly specialized student, and when they're looking, when a manager is going to be looking at your profile, they probably have something in mind already. Right? And I've heard anecdotally from a lot of other PhD students that people would reach out to them for doing focus on this very specific paper or this research they did, and they want them to apply that. For example, I know of a PhD student in communications engineering in the double E department, right? And Apple hired him not as an intern, but like right out of the boat, because he had this one paper that had 0 citations, but it was something they were really interested in, right? And I think one important factor to consider is as a PhD student, you're very specialized, right? And your skill set obviously puts you a cut above a lot of your applicants. So I don't think as a PhD student, for the right role, I don't think applying late matters, right? For a lot of the other roles, like highly, customer facing roles, right? So I'm speaking from my experience. I'm not a computer science person, but like digital design, right, or like design verification, right? These are very product facing roles. They don't really need like a highly specialized person for these. So I think over there, the when you apply matters. But for like very specialized or like research specific roles or like internal tool development or like highly specialized teams, for those I don't think the time you apply matters.
Okay, no more questions?
Surprised the audience doesn't have more.
You got one?
Hi. So when you're having multiple like offers, how do you know which one to go with?
Money. I was kidding. So whichever, like mostly whichever aligns with your work, which you like the most. But in my case, I had around 5. So I asked a lot of folks around, like how the work culture is, what specific project your team is working on. And I mostly understood that I actually did get what projects everybody's looking for, what they're hoping to do, and which will align best with my case. I just took that offer.
Well, I think first of all, you're going to be very lucky to get multiple internship offers in this job market. Uh, but other than that, I think you need to keep in mind, obviously, compensation. But compensation against cost of living, because cost of living changes where you are. That's something a lot of people forget. And the second thing is company culture. Go to Glassdoor, see how they treat their interns, read some anecdotes about it, and and then obviously, as Som said, do a role that actually resonates with you. If you have the luxury of choice, do something that works for you, not just for money.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll ask the question. What's the most used application portal that you use? Is it just LinkedIn? Which all portals do you use to find internships?
LinkedIn, define roles, just LinkedIn.
LinkedIn,
I think JobRite, Indeed is also good.
Indeed,
Yeah.
JobRite.
LinkedIn, JobRite, and Handshake.
Handshake.
Yeah.
Yeah, Handshake, then Ripple Match, GitHub links 2026, 25, whatever. Then yeah, the career portals for using those GitHub links. Yeah.
I actually use like the ASU career fair, like list of employers, and then I went to the employer's like direct website. So I think third-party platforms for me sometimes get a bit overwhelming. So what helped me with like the most recent career fair, because it was only like a week or two ago, I went through like every single company and I looked up their job portal, and then I looked in their job portal for like the specific keywords of internships, like fields that I was interested in, and if they didn't have it, then I just crossed it off. Just because I think I knew they'd be at the fair in person. So by going directly to their website, I had something to mention when I saw them at the fair. So yeah, but also LinkedIn.
Awesome. You have one?
So I have a question, like if you start applying early and then suppose you get an internship offer, it's a hypothetical case, like you get an internship offer before the end of the year and then you realize that you are interviewing with other companies and you have accepted the offer because you don't know whether you get another offer or not. But fortunately or unfortunately, you land up another offer and then you're like, okay, this is much better opportunity. So what should you do in that case?
I have experience on this. So I just talked with my current boss. So I just like, hey, I have another offer. It's in New York and stuff like that. And we just discussed my interest, compensation and stuff like that. My boss was let me up to that. Like he was happy if I want to choose the other offer. So I think the best way you can do is being honest. Being honest with your current boss. Keep your trust, don't break it.
I think be honest, and until you've signed anything, nothing's binding. But a verbal agreement still has a lot of weight, right? I think reach out to the company that extends the first offer that you've like verbally accepted. And maybe they'll bump up your compensation or they'll give you some other benefit. Maybe they'll change your mind. But if you fully intend to just work someplace else, just let them know, hey, I have another offer, I'm really sorry about this, but I think this works better for me. So until you sign anything, nothing's fine, right?
So this kind of did happen to me. So I had a verbal offer, but then as soon as I got the verbal offer, I just emailed everybody, hey, I have this offer. And they just bumped up my interview and I had like every interviews in 1 week. So you can do that so that you kind of get multiple offers in the same time. You can plan ahead. As soon as you get the first offer, just email everybody. I'll just bump up interviews for you.
So, how do you keep up with like new technologies without being overwhelmed?
In my instance, the coolest thing that I've been able to see is like, again, I keep on mentioning LinkedIn just because I've realized like how helpful it is with the tech industry in particular. There's a lot of really cool like college students right now in tech posting content like every single day on LinkedIn of like new tools they're using, new trends they're seeing and everything. And 100% it can get overwhelming with the amount of like content you're like absorbing. But I think in that same breath, it's been really, really cool to see what exists and be like, literally just reach out to them because you're on a platform where you can reach out to people. So I have like already scheduled coffee chats with people because I saw them post about using a tool and I was like, I want to learn more, you know? And people post because they know about it, because they're proud of it. They're going to want to talk about their experience with it too. So I think getting like, instead of having to navigate a tool yourself, you can leverage apps like LinkedIn to find people that are actually like already excelling in it and learn from them as well. Also, I think just in general with like some of my ASU coursework, I've been able to tie in like everyday tools. So for example, Figma is something that I've been using for like projects that I have in classes, or doing database related things for classes where I actually have to conduct like experiment studies has been helping me get a lot more used to doing that sort of work in industry. So yeah, just definitely utilize like you have ASU classes, ASU professors, reach out to them, create a LinkedIn account, see those tools on LinkedIn. You can even go like Reddit deep dive and like find people using those tools and whatever, and just learn from them, learn from their experience, see the mistakes they make, ask them what was tough, so then you can tackle it first, if that makes sense. You don't have to go through the ropes of like, I need to go from step 0 if someone else has already gone from step 0 and is willing to show you the way. So I think that's been helpful for me.
Great advice.
So I use this subscription called Small AI. It's free. So they kind of give me this scraped report from Twitter, Reddit, and everything about which new LLMs came about, what every company is, how every company is funded, all these tech news. And I just read it like every day before I go to sleep. But I do get overwhelmed. Like this, I work in LLMs, and there's an LLM, a new LLM every week. So, but I think it's okay to be overwhelmed. Like I don't have to know how it works. I just need to know, okay, this exists. If a time comes, if I'm free, I'll learn it. But I think there's nothing you can do about that. Like companies are going to just get better and better and better. Like Claude 4.5 came. That was just before, I know, VO2, Sora 2, everything like came just like in blink of an eye. So as long as I think it's fine. You just need to know what is happening, like the current trends. But studying all of them is definitely possible. Just be good at like what you like. I think that's fine. This is a very biased opinion, by the way.
Also,
Any other questions?
I can ask a question because it's been bugging me when I asked the previous question on like the first come first service rule. So, what do you do? You told me that PayPal is up for 3 days. How do you know which 3 days? Like, what if I just don't open LinkedIn for a week? Like, I missed that window.
Yeah.
So I check every day. And
My personal experience was I was on a on-campus job, and I opened my LinkedIn on a break, and I got to know that PayPal has opened the internship opening. I quickly applied through my phone. I had my resume on my phone, and there were like 2 openings. I decided that there was one opening that I have the resume on, and the second opening I have to like tune my resume a bit, and then I might apply later. And when I opened it, like after 3 days, wanting to apply for the other position, it was already closed. And turns to be that this was the second slot of openings that they had opened in um, January. So I got the interview in January, but they're already hired in October. So they were pretty much done with their hiring in October. But for the people who had multiple offers and they decided to like not go with this offer, they had a few openings that they opened in January, and it's like it is quite on luck, but for me, it has always been that if I do apply early, there are like higher chances of me getting the interview or the OA. Because the other instance was I applied to Google in May when I was in India, and I did get the OA in October, which was like a long time after I had applied. But the chances of getting OA for me, I thought it was like just apply early. So this is the case with most of the companies that I had applied and I got the OAs. It can be different for different people. Everyone has their own experience. But yeah, according to me, it's like if you apply early, then there's a high chance that they will see your resume, and if they like it, then you might get the OA.
And then this is why the GitHub links really help. So these GitHub links post job openings every single day. And there's around 5 postings per day, like more than 5 actually. I'm just estimating a number. So I just keep checking every day. And if I think a position is nice, just apply. Yeah.
Yeah, I would also say there's on like LinkedIn and just like I follow some creators on like Instagram and stuff where they post every single time like a new job is like open. So like some of them are specific to maybe like product management or like front-end development. So I found creators in those spaces and they actually like post every time a link is open and then I just apply because they post about it. I don't have to go looking for it. So definitely like they mentioned, there's a GitHub repository you can check. Like you don't have to do the searching on your own. It's like all automated now. So just find the people that give you the info and then go through with your application process.
Another question. I'll keep on asking questions till time ends. So do you wait for referrals or apply early? Because I have to wait for referrals, so there'll be candidates before me. So what is the best option then? At least in your experience.
For me so far, like the process of asking for a referral takes a lot longer than the process of just applying. So what I've been doing is like I apply and then when I have the chance to actually connect with the recruiter, then I talk to the recruiter and say like, do you know who is the hiring manager for this role? Would you be able to like put a note on my application in particular? Like, could you like maybe put in a good word for my application or something like that? I think that's a bit easier. And again, just do like face-to-face conversations, maybe at a career fair or something. That way they have like a face to a name rather than like me only cold DMing through LinkedIn. It takes a while to get a referral like offer just because recruiters take a while to respond to messages in general. And so I think like we were mentioning before, like because it's like a timing game, you don't want to risk your chance of like applying in general, just like, oh, let me wait until I get a referral. You can always like have an application in and then like they can take a look at your application, but they can't do that if there's nothing submitted. So always just get it in first and then like referral, even now, like honestly, sometimes referrals still don't matter because like if they already interviewed someone who applied way earlier than you and then they actually got the offer, doesn't matter if you got a referral because you were late. So definitely just get it in first and then you can troubleshoot stuff, try to get yourself to stand out, but you should apply first.
All right, just final check. Any last minute questions? Okay, then. All right. As we draw to a close, I want to say a massive thank you to everyone. First, a colossal thank you to our incredible panel of internship superstars. Your honesty, your expertise, and your willingness. Your willingness to share your hard-won wisdom has truly empowered our community. Let's give them a round of applause. And to all of you, amazing audience, students, early career candidates, future leaders, thank you for your incredible questions, your active participation, and your boundless ambition. You are the future of tech, and after tonight, you are better equipped to go out there and build it. Don't let this internship momentum just stop here. You can connect with us, follow ACM at ASU on social media to stay updated on future events, workshops, and even more incredible opportunities. You can connect with the panel. They're all on LinkedIn. Send a polite connection request, mention you saw them speak here tonight, and grow your network. Share your takeaways. We'd love to hear what resonated with you the most tonight. Share your favorite insights from the panel on LinkedIn, and be sure to tag ACM at ASU. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. It's been an absolute pleasure to host this illuminating journey into the heart of internship success. Go forth, break in, and stand out and convert. You've got this. Have a fantastic evening, everyone.